something broke late Friday that is an update to something I was wondering about, so I want to put it on your radar. Remember that whole TikTok ban thing? What's happening with that, given all the winds of political change about? Well, the Journal was reporting that TikTok still faces a U.S. ban if it is not sold by, and do the math on this, January 19th. That is because a federal appeals court ruled that Congress does indeed have the power to take action to protect U.S. interests. I said do the math because Inauguration Day is the next day, January 20th. So this is a signed law. It would go into effect because even if the incoming administration wanted to prevent this from happening, they would need to sign a whole new countervailing law, which they wouldn't have time to do. Quote, the decision relied heavily on warnings from U.S. officials that the Chinese government can exert its will on the app's parent company, Beijing-based ByteDance, potentially giving it the ability to access U.S. users' data and manipulate what they see on the platform. The decision by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District Court of Columbia Circuit rejected arguments by TikTok and several of its star users that the ban was an unconstitutional infringement on free speech. The First Amendment exists to protect free speech in the United States. Here, the government acted solely to protect that freedom from a foreign adversary nation and to limit that adversary's ability to gather data on people in the United States, Judge Douglas Ginsburg wrote for the court. TikTok is expected to appeal to the Supreme Court, but the justices are under no obligation to hear the case. The Supreme Court has an established historical record of protecting Americans' right to free speech, and we expect they will do just that on this important constitutional issue, a TikTok spokesman said. Unfortunately, the TikTok ban was conceived and pushed through based on inaccurate, flawed, and hypothetical information, resulting in outright censorship of the American people, end quote. ByteDance has said it can't and won't sell its U.S. operations. The Chinese government has opposed a forced sale, preferring to keep TikTok's proprietary algorithm and source code under Chinese control. President-elect Donald Trump's pending return to the White House adds a layer of uncertainty to what happens next. Trump sought to restrict TikTok in his first term, but he muddied his position earlier this year, expressing concern that a ban would shift users to rival Facebook. The ban doesn't make it a crime for TikTok's 170 million U.S. users to keep using the app, but it prohibits mobile app stores such as Google's and Apple's from letting users download or update it and bars internet hosting services from supporting the app, effectively shutting it down in the U.S. Google and Apple haven't indicated how they would comply with the law. Apple didn't respond to a request for comment, and Google, when reached, didn't have anything to add. The statute subjects violators to fines of $5,000 multiplied by the number of people in the U.S. who, quote, accessed, maintained, or updated the TikTok app. That means, in theory, companies defying the ban could face civil penalties in the hundreds of billions of dollars. TikTok will likely deploy a two-pronged approach as it tries to salvage its U.S. presence. To postpone the ban's current January 19th effective date, the company would likely need an emergency stay from the Supreme Court. The High Court has been sensitive to free speech claims, but also traditionally has deferred to other branches on national security matters. The app's other potential avenue is through Trump, who in theory could refuse to enforce the ban or invoke provisions of the law that allow the president to lift the ban if his administration determines the site is no longer under Chinese control, end quote.